Hello everybody, this is the 53rd lecture for us with Mr. Haid Al-Qasir. Today we are taking Book 15, General, Reading Passage, Test 1, Reading Passage 2. Okay, it's two parts, as you noticed last lecture. The first part, Safety when working on roofs. It says choose no more than 3 words and or a number. That means 1, 2 or 3 words as max, and or a number. That means it might be only number and it might be 1, 2, 3 words and a number. It's okay. Safety when working on roofs. Investigations show that over half of falls are from less than gap. Okay, let's see. A fall from height is the most serious hazard associated with roof work. Preventing falls from roofs is a priority for WorkSafe. New Zealand investigations by WorkSafe into falls that occur while working at height show that more than 50% of falls are from under 3 meters. Okay, it says here more than 50%, over half of falls. Okay, more than 50% of falls are from under 3 meters, from less than. So the answer will be 3 meters. Here, 3 could be written as a word and as a figure, as a number. Okay, let's see. Most falls are from ladders and roofs. Falls cost $24 million per year. The majority of falls occur on. Okay, let's look for number 16. The cost of these falls is estimated to be $24 million a year, to say nothing of the human costs that result from these falls. More injuries happen on residential building sites than any other workplace in the construction sector. Okay, let's check. The majority of falls occur on. Okay, and it says here more injuries happen on. That means the majority. So the answer will be here residential building sites. That means 15 will be 3 meters and 16 will be residential building sites. Okay, then we go on. Hazard identification should be carried out before the work starts when conditions such as the weather or worker numbers change. Controls. 17 gap. The hazard of the planning stage before the work begins if possible. Okay, let's see. In order to prevent such injuries, a hazard assessment should be carried out for all work on roofs to assess potential dangers. It's essential that the hazards are identified before the work starts and that the necessary equipment, appropriate precautions and systems of work are provided and implemented. Hazard identification should be repeated periodically or when there is a change in conditions, for example, the weather or numbers of staff on site. I see nothing about number 17, about the controls. 17 said gap the hazard of the planning stage before the work begins if possible. Let's check the third paragraph. The first thing to be considered is whether it's possible to eliminate this hazard completely so that workers are not exposed to the danger of falling. Okay, so this can sometimes be done of the design. Okay, so of the design, let's go on. Construction planning and tending stage. Okay, so number 17, let us check. Gap the hazard of the planning stage before the work begins if possible. The first thing to be considered is whether it's possible to eliminate this hazard completely. Okay, so number 17 will be eliminate. Why? Because the elimination of the hazard they are mentioning is of the planning stage and before the work begins, which means of the design and of the planning stage. Okay, so let's go on with 18. Prevent a fall by using edge protection, for example, scaffolding or gap. So, let's see. If the possibility of a fall cannot be eliminated, some form of edge protection should be used to prevent workers from falling. It may be possible to use the existing scaffolding as edge protection. If this is not practicable, then temporary work platforms should be used. So, in this case here, prevent a fall by using edge protection, for example, scaffolding, or we have a scaffolding here. Let us recheck. It may be possible to use the existing scaffolding as edge protection. If this is not practicable, then temporary work platforms. So the answer will be temporary work platforms of number 18. Okay. Reduce the likelihood of injury, for example, by using gap. So let us check. In cases where such a protection is not possible, then steps should be taken to minimize the likelihood. Minimize means reduce, okay, of any harm resulting. This means considering the use of safety nets. So, to minimize, to reduce, okay, by using, to reduce the injury by using safety nets. The answer will be safety nets. Okay, let's see 20. Ladders. These should only be used for gap, which does not take a long time. Let's go on. And other similar systems to make it less like that injury will be caused if a fall does occur. So we don't have anything here. Let's go on. Ladders should only be employed for short duration maintenance work. It's mentioned here. These should be used for gap which does not take a long time. That means for short duration. So maintenance work. Maintenance work will be number 20. Let's see 21. Training should be provided in there. Let's check. Let's see. People using ladders should be trained and instructed in the selection and safe use of ladders. Training should be provided in their gap and use. And here it says people using ladders should be trained and instructed in the selection and safe use of ladders. So number 21 will be selection. Okay. 22. Regular gap of ladders is required. Let's go on with the questions. There should be inspection of all ladders on a regular basis to ensure they are safe to use. So the answer will be inspection. Number 22 will be inspection. Let us repeat the answers. 15 street meters, 16 residential building sites, 17 eliminate, 18 temporary work platforms, 19 safety nets, 20 maintenance work, 21 selection, and 22 inspection. Okay, we come to the second part of reading 2, passage 2 we call it, maternity allowance for working women. We also have gaps. It says choose no more than 2 words and or a number. 23. The maximum amount of money a woman can get each week is. Let's see. You can claim maternity allowance once you've been pregnant for 26 weeks. Payments start 11 weeks before the date on which your baby is due. The amount you can get depends on your eligibility. You could get either £140.98 a week or 90% of your average week earnings, whichever is less for 39 weeks, £27 a week for 14 weeks. So the maximum will be 140.98. That's the answer of a 23 because this is the maximum each week. Okay. 24. Being gapped for a time does not necessarily mean that a woman will not be eligible for maternity allowance. Let's go on with it. Maternity allowance for 39 weeks. You might get maternity allowance for 39 weeks if one of the following applies. You are employed, you are self-employed and pay class 2 national insurance, including voluntary national insurance. You've recently stopped working. You may still qualify even if you've recently stopped working. It does not matter if you had different jobs or periods when you were unemployed. So, number 24 will be unemployed, because it says being unemployed for a time does not necessarily mean that a woman will not be eligible for maternity allowance. And here it says if you had different jobs or period when you were unemployed. When at the beginning says you may still qualify even if you've recently stopped working. Okay, so 24 will be unemployed. 25. In order to claim, a woman must send a gap or a small earnings exemption certificate as evidence of her income. Maternity allowance for 14 weeks. You might get maternity allowance for 14 weeks if for at least 26 weeks in the 66 weeks before your baby is due. You were married or in a civil partnership. You were not employed or self-employed. You took part in the business for your self-employed spouse or civil partner. Let's reread 25. In order to claim, a woman must send a gap or a small earnings exemption certificate as evidence for her income. I could not find this one, so let's see the other paragraph. It says how to claim. Yes, this one talks about claiming. Okay. You will need an MA1 claim form available online. You can print this and fill it in online. You also need to provide a payslip or a certificate of a small earnings exemption as a proof of your income. Yes, so the answer will be payslip, because it says in order to claim, a woman must send a payslip or a small earning exemption certificate as evidence of her income. Because it says here you also need to provide a payslip or a certificate of a small earnings exemption as a proof of your income. So the answer will be payslip. Okay, let's see 26. In order to claim, a woman may need to provide a gap as evidence of the due date and a proof of baby's due date, such as a doctor's letter. Yes, okay, we have here So the answer will be doctor's letter. In order to claim, a woman may need to provide a doctor's letter as evidence of the due date, because it talks about pieces of evidence here. So 25 will be payslip and 26 will be doctor's letter. Okay. 27. Payment may be affected by differences in someone's gap, such as a return to work, and the local job center plus must be informed. You should get a decision on your claim within 24 working days. You should report any change to your circumstances. For example, if you get back to work to your local job center plus. Okay, so the answer will be circumstances. 27, because it says payment may be affected by differences in someone's circumstances, such as a return to work, go back to work, and the local job center plus must be informed. Yes, so the answer will be circumstances. Let's redo the answers. 23, 140.198, 24 unemployed, 25 payslip, 26 doctor's letter, and 27 circumstances. Now we come to the end of our lecture today. Wish that you got the benefit. If you liked it, please press the button of subscribe. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments. If you have any criticism, write it in the comments too. Thanks for watching this lecture. That was Mr. Haidar Qasir with you. Thank you.